Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 157 of the Run in the Paint podcast. I'm Miles here with Joey, Nick, and Ben. Guys, how are you doing today?
Feeling good, feeling great. Glad to be back with you guys.
Yep, had a week off. Benny, missed your birthday. Happy belated birthday to our boy Ben.
Hey.
Yes, sir. Ben, did you enjoy your birthday?
Yeah, had a great time celebrating my birthday, and shout out to the Cleveland Guardians, Nick representing over there. Oh boy, I can't wait for Guardians playoff baseball this week. Guardians fans watching this, come on, we got a pick for the rest of the field. Let's go.
Let's go.
Yes, sir.
It's been incredible to watch, but we got some NBA, obviously, to talk about. The Western Conference standings predictions video. Last episode a week ago, we did the East. Unfortunately, I got sick last week, so we had to wait another week for us to do the Western Conference, which is going to be very spicy here. This was incredibly difficult to do. There are so many great teams in the Western Conference, so I can't wait to see where we all have these different teams. But before we get into it, let's get started off with POELTL. Let's see how we can do here today. So I'm picking the player today. I'm going to do someone in the Western Conference who's played for a decent amount of teams over the last couple of years. I'm going to go with Buddy Buckets. Buddy Hield.
Nice.
All right, well, something is highlighted. So this is going to be most likely a forward in the East that is 6'7", 6'8". That is not in his 30s and wears a double-digit jersey number.
Yeah, the streak has officially ended. Miles has been guessing POELTL players for a long time on this show, and each time he guesses, we get nothing highlighted. Finally, we have a position.
Yeah, it's like the worst thing to even have highlighted, but it's okay. We'll figure it out. It's gonna be a forward that's in the Eastern Conference. I guess, what do we think right off the bat here?
Brandon Miller.
Brandon Miller fits. We could go Brandon Miller. Do we want to try him out?
Did we lose Joey?
Not sure. Oh, well, now we lost him. We lost him there. All right. Do we want to try Brandon Miller? Ben, what do you think? What guys do you think we could try here?
I was thinking Brandon Miller, also Brandon Ingram. Well, somebody like that.
Ingram's gonna guess a Brandon. I think Ingram is number 3 now for the Raptors. So
Oh.
let's try Brandon Miller.
Yeah, let's try that then.
Let's try him out. Let's see where we can get. All right. Obviously, Eastern Conference, and the forward is also highlighted. So is this going to be a center, forward/center, as Joey returns to us? That's 21 or 20 years old. So this is a young guy, 6'8" or 6'9", that is not in the Southeast.
So either the Atlantic or the Central. A couple of rookies, second-year guys, taller forwards that we're trying to get here.
Salon.
Could this be
Oh, no, he's on
Buzelis with
Charlotte.
the
He's
Bulls?
literally on that team.
What's up, Ben?
Could this be Buzelis on the Bulls?
I had the same thought. We've had Buzelis as a pull on POELTL before. That would be quite the trick for POELTL to give us Buzelis again. But he
There's
does
no
fit.
way. There's no way.
He came to my mind.
Well, the thing is, though, since forward is now highlighted yellow, I think it means that this guy is a forward/center.
Buzelis is 6'11", but I don't think he's just listed as a forward.
Yeah, he wouldn't be a center. He's so this is gonna be a big guy. That's 21 or 20. I like the Buzelis pick. We did get him before. I mean, I don't think they'd have. Let me see here. Will they have rookies? Like, is Dylan Harper? Dylan Harper is in here, so they do have rookies.
Who are you thinking?
I don't know. He won't. I don't think he'll be classified as a center, but like Colin Murray Boyles for the Raptors.
It's not a bad guess.
I think he's he's 6'8".
Oh man, but the rookies are in here, so it is a possibility. Like this could be Alex Sarr, although I think he might be 7 feet tall. Oh, and he's in the Southeast, so it's not Sarr.
We could go with Colin Murray Boyles to get that division checked
and
off.
see. All right, let's try him out. Colin Murray Boyles, Atlantic Division. Oh, he's exactly 6'7", 21 years old, between the numbers 15 and 21 in the Atlantic Division. So this is going to be the Celtics, Nets, Knicks, or the 76ers.
It's a Diabate dude. He's on Charlotte now, isn't he?
Yeah, he's on the Hornets.
I haven't.
He was on the Knicks, wasn't he?
Mamadi Diakite was on the Knicks.
Oh,
Similar name, former Cav. Let's see, man. Like young dudes on these teams. Let's see. Brooklyn Nets. Noah
drafted a ton.
Clowney.
Yeah.
There's Noah Clowney.
Is he in that age range?
He's a young guy, and he wears the number 21, and I think he is taller, and he could be classified as a forward center. I want to say he's 6'9".
I like that guess.
I like it too. Do it.
All right, let's go for it. Noah Clowney. And we got
There
it.
it is.
Yeah.
Noah Clowney.
Cole Miles.
Thanks. Yeah, good there. Noah Clowney in 4. Let us know how long it took you guys to get Noah Clowney here. But now let's get into our Western Conference standings predictions. And if you tuned into the East, there were some fun takes on that one. Unfortunately, we couldn't have Ben on that one, so now we get to hear some of Ben's hot takes because he had some interesting predictions in the Eastern Conference standings. I guess before we even get into the West, Ben, now that you're here, is there anything you want to say about your Eastern Conference predictions now to the viewers? Now that you're here, anything with the Pistons at 3, the
Hawks at 6,
Hawks at 6? I'm trying to remember what else. Is there any what were? I guess give a summary of your Eastern Conference predictions.
Yeah. So really, I was trying to think about it to where, like, you know, that, like, I was thinking teams like the Knicks and the Cavs, yeah, I was like, those teams are just super talented, loaded, and I think they could get up, to, like, top 2, but I was thinking, like, behind, like, the top 2, it could go in different directions, and I was like, well, there tends to be some surprises each year recently, so I'm just gonna, kind of go like some surprise, kind of like with the Pistons at 3. But I think with the Pistons, I just think like Duran and Ivy, I'm even higher on them. I guess for you guys, I think those guys are gonna have great seasons. Like look even better. Just a bunch of their young guys improving, looking even better, making them, even more better than last year. Then for the Hawks, I'm just really questionable on Porzingis. I'm not too sure how good he's really gonna do, but we'll see. The Hawks, they're kind of a tough team to predict. They could be pretty good. You guys could be right, but I'm just more lower on them. I think they'll finish 6th, but I think they shouldn't be a play-in team at least anymore. And then with the Celtics, I was thinking like the same way as Joey with the Celtics at 12. I was like, man, I think there's going to be some team like, the Celtics who just go to 12 because like the Celtics, they could play some good basketball to start the year, but like I was thinking things could like tail off and they're just trying, rebuild and reset more so for next year. I'm thinking they're going to be thinking that's more important. They're thinking, who knows, maybe we can land a top draft pick. And boy, if you can land a top draft prospect, then, man, that could really be something for them going forward with Tatum. And they could really build a squad going forward in the future with that, possibly.
Yeah, hey, I'll tell you what, the Celtics at 12, that definitely could happen. But if Jason Tatum is already working out at full speed, which is incredible. I don't know if you guys have seen those videos.
I saw that, yeah.
Like, dude, that's something. We already have our predictions, and these are now officially set in stone now that we have talked about them on the podcast. But, dude, if Tatum somehow makes a return at the end of the regular season, I don't know, because the Celtics roster does have flaws because they went into the season with the intention of him not playing. But you never know. The Celtics could make things interesting at the end of the season if Tatum does end up coming back. But that's just one of the several fun nuggets that we've had over the last couple of days now that media day's been getting going, and that's been super fun to see all these players back here. I guess final thing then with our Eastern Conference predictions, we heard yours. I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think was the biggest hot take from each of our lists? Was it me having the Bucks at 12, Nick having the Heat at 6, or Joey having the Bulls as the 8th seed? Which was the hottest take from the three of us?
I have to give Miles even with the Bucks at the 12th seed because I don't know. I was like actually shocked by that one. I wasn't totally expecting you to be that low on them, but I was like, okay, that's interesting. But like, really, if who knows if uh, Giannis gets unhappy because other guys around him are playing too well, maybe that will happen. And they don't totally have great depth around Giannis. I was just higher on them because I think Giannis was just so good. I'm like, I think Giannis will be bought in and they'll at least make the play in, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, of course. I'm sure it's real, but it just so happened he got COVID today as we're recording, so he couldn't make media day. How fitting! That's a great start to the Bucks season right there. But yeah, so now let's get into our Western Conference standings predictions here. Man, like I said, Nick, this is incredibly tough. There are so many good teams here. I think we could have a lot of hot takes across the board because I know there are a lot of teams that we could be thinking could jump up, some that fall down. How did you kind of formulate your standings?
Gut feeling. I honestly think the East was a bit more difficult because it's so unpredictable and the teams are worse. Like in the West, at least we know these teams are going to be good, and it's just sorting between. It's really splitting hairs when you get to like 39 versus 41 wins. Like it's going to be that close at the 10 and 11 seed in the West probably. But yeah, I think the East was honestly more difficult just because of the unknown and the unpredictability of it. With the West, like I said, I just trust my gut.
You know what? I agree with that. The top tier of the East, besides 1 and 2, was harder than the West. But to me, picking the 7 through 14 of the West was way harder. Like there are so many teams. Like we talked throughout all of our division previews, Joey. There are some teams, like some younger teams that were in the lottery last year that we could be pretty big fans of, could have potential to jump up. Then when you try to rank them, it's like, oh my goodness, it's going to be pretty difficult. They may not have a chance, but you still want to try to throw in a hot take in there because like Ben said, there is always a surprise team that jumps up a lot higher than any of us expected, like the Rockets last season.
I tend to agree. That 7 through 14, the play-in, trying to like decide who's in and who's out. A lot of people are going to be upset with, I bet, a lot of our rankings, but it's just our opinion because it's that close.
Yeah, and listen, if you want to, feel free to put your predictions down below as well, because we would love to read yours as well. But let's get into this, starting obviously from the bottom, 15th seed in the Western Conference, Nick.
The GFF, once again, or well, no, not Dallas, sorry. The Phoenix Buns. The Phoenix Buns I have here.
What?
Yeah, I got Phoenix all the way down at the bottom.
We're starting off with the hot take.
We're already starting with the flaming hot take for the Suns.
They were terrible. I mean, they lost Beal, they lost Durant. Like, they're not.
But are they worse than the Utah Jazz?
I have them with the exact same record as the Jazz. Matter of fact.
So how bad?
24 and 58.
The Jazz will win 24 games?
That's crazy talk.
What? Okay, well, I'd assume the rest of us have the Jazz at 15.
Yes. And
Yes,
I have them
do.
winning or going 17 and 65.
Which I think is what they won. Yeah, it's what they won last season as well.
Dude, they're going to cook out there in Utah. Are you kidding me? Ben, you love Flip. You love Kyle Filipowski. You saw him in Summer League. They got Ace Bailey. They drafted Joey's guy, Wendell Carter. Wendell, what's his name?
Walter Clayton.
Walter Clayton Jr.
Out of Florida, the national champ. I think they're going to be better than they were last year. I think they're going to be better than they were last year. And I think like the Suns have just nothing to play for and no cohesion.
Well, they do because they don't have their first round pick. So they can't tank. They do have something to play for, and the fact that they have no reason to lose. To outwardly lose. But okay, all right. That's very, very interesting. I did not expect us to start off with that. Joey, so Utah at 15. I guess what are your thoughts about the Jazz at 15?
They're gonna be bad. They still don't have like a star player to go up against anybody else's top player. Like it's just how it is. They got good players and they got good young guys, but all these guys are gonna develop except Markkanen and Kessler. Outside of those, and maybe like Nurkic and Love, those are the only like 4 guys that we like for sure know how their game is and where their potential lies right now. Everybody else is up in the air. So with that and how young they are, and they just don't know how to win yet, it's going to be a rough year, especially with how absolutely loaded the rest of this Western Conference is.
Yeah, I mean, like we talked about in their preview, they're still in the search for a franchise guy to take them to the next level. Ace Bailey might be the first step to that happening because he just has so much scoring potential. But I don't think he's going to have that great of a rookie year. I think he'll be pretty inefficient from the field, and then we'll see which of their point guards can really lead them forward going forward because now they have Keontae George, Isaiah Collier, and Walter Clayton Jr., who are all going to fight for minutes, and we'll see who can win that battle. But already very interesting. Now, funny enough, I made a big deal. I have the Phoenix Suns at 14, and I know it's only one spot higher, but I think the game's difference from 14 to 15 this season between the Suns and the Jazz is going to be astronomical. Like, I think it's going to be it might be a 7 to 8 game difference between.
Are you sure it won't be 6 to 7? Did you do that on purpose?
Right. But no, so yeah, I know. I made a whole big deal about it. I only have them one spot higher, but I think the Suns. I think every other team is on another level than the Jazz. I think the Jazz are the only clear tanking team in the Western Conference.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree.
Ben,
I obviously disagree, but
yeah, that's why we have this podcast. That's why we're here to talk about it.
It's very interesting. That was a curveball to start this one.
I can't wait till you to talk to my dad about it because my dad, when I was going over the Western predictions, my dad was helping me make it, and he wanted to put the Suns in the play-in.
Well, we talked in the Pacific. I'm like, I like this Suns roster more than the Kings. And then I went and have the Kings in the play-in here. So,
oh, interesting! Wow, all right.
I can't wait to talk about the Kings. Let's go. All right, Ben, talk about your 14.
All right, so my number 14 is the New Orleans Pelicans. Yeah,
bingo, bango. Me too.
Hey, that's Joey. Okay, yeah. It was tough. It started getting interesting for me once I just got past the Jazz at 14. And just kind of come down to who am I really going to trust? The Pelicans? I don't really trust them going this year. I don't know about them. I just have a lot of question marks with this team, and I don't love the construction of how this roster was built. I really question the guard play. Poole could score the ball good, and well, I guess the Jonte will come back this season. I have questions about how that's gonna fit. I don't think that's gonna fit the best. Maybe Jeremiah Fears could be something, but he's gonna be developing in his first year. And then Zion, I mean, the big question mark is will he stay healthy or will he not? We'll see. I hope he can, but and they got Derek Queen, Gibbs, Missy. That's a young center rotation. It's not the best defensively. It's gonna take some development there, and Trey Murphy, he's young, can stay healthy. I could see him having a pretty good year, maybe Herb Jones too, but Pelicans are just a weird team, hard to trust.
Joey, so you have the Pelicans at 14 as well, but I'm curious, and for all you guys, with Media Day going on, one of the biggest storylines for Media Day had to be seeing Zion Williamson at Media Day, who looked as slim as we've ever seen him, even more so. Like I never
even
thought
from high school he was never this small.
Yeah, it was insane. So what was your overall reaction to seeing that happen?
I'll be honest. Since we were obviously planning on doing this podcast last week, I already had my predictions ready for this. And then I saw that media, and I'm like, well, I'm not really going to change it, but he looks good. He looks healthy. He looks ready. But I'm, at least for my overall thinking for how that's going to translate to this team, I'm kind of where I'm with Ben. Like, they've been riddled with injuries over the last many years, over Zion's whole tenure in New Orleans. It seems like him or anybody else, like supporting cast, they just can't stay healthy. They can't put it all together. Regardless if they're healthy or not this year, I just don't think they put it all together. I think there's still a lot of holes, a lot of development, but Zion looks good, and the first step in the right direction to rebuilding and getting that trust as a Pelicans fan, or like just from the fan, is to see Zion play at least a good portion of the games this year. First step is to see him be healthy.
Yeah, absolutely. So Nick, who's your 14th seed? Is that where you have the Jazz?
Yeah.
All right, so Utah 14. Okay, so nothing too crazy there.
Sorry, Nick, what?
I was just going to go into the Pels at 13.
I got him there as well, so
nice.
Right in the same range.
Okay, so the guard play thing, I definitely agree with you, Ben. But if they put the ball in Zion's hand a lot, then I think that's a good offense at that point. Like, you got Trey Murphy who's able to spot up, Jordan Poole able to spot up and get to the cup. And if Zion's the one out there directing stuff, I think it looks at least a little bit cleaner. I like the Messi Queen rotation at center. I know they're young and inexperienced, but they're athletic as heck, and they're both lob threat rim protectors that have size and move really well. This team is exciting to me. Going into last year, it was like the one thing that they didn't have was a center. You guys remember they signed it wasn't Olynyk, but it was
they had Daniel Tice at center. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was like the big question mark with this team, because we're like, can they really be like a play-in contender if they don't have a center? And that was kind of where they were at. And then everything just went haywire last year with injuries, and everything that went wrong everything that could have went wrong did. So I think that, yeah, they're going to have a decent year. I got them at 36 wins.
That's pretty good. Yeah, I kind of have a similar feeling with them as I do the Suns. I think I'm going to have fun watching those two teams play. I think I'm going to enjoy watching the Suns play more, but I've got them finishing a little lower because I do like the talent that the Pelicans have. And yeah, it probably will take some time for them to develop. I think Kevon Looney might play backup center just to start the year, just to ease Derek Queen into the rotation. But yeah, I mean, I thought about potentially moving this team into a postseason spot, but I can't with all the other teams that are in the Western Conference. And I still can't believe the trade they made in the offseason to just give up their first round pick. I mean, Ben, regardless of what you may think of this team, I mean, I don't think that there's a world where they come out of the season in the offseason where they aren't giving up a top 10 lottery pick to the Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah, I agree. I still think that was a really bad decision, and yeah, come back to haunt them is what I'm thinking. At least, on where I have them.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so 13th seed for the Pelicans for Nick and I. Joey, who do you have at 13?
I have the Grizzlies at a record of 34-48 at 13.
Wow. I was expecting someone to have the Grizzlies really low here. Why do you have the Grizzlies so low?
Don't get me wrong. They have obviously the star power, and that'll carry them to a lot of wins with Jaren Jackson and Ja Morant. But the rest of them are just okay. Something's going to happen. Ja Morant or Jaren Jackson or Caldwell Pope or Edey, someone's going to go down for a little bit of time, and it's going to be catastrophic.
Two of them are already injured to start the season. They're two front court players. That's the asterisk for on the graphic for Jackson and Edey. They're both out for a week at a time to start the season, so they're already not off to it.
That's already going to be a really, really rough start to their season. I don't even know their schedule or who they start off with, but if you're missing the two big guys, is Jack Landale going to be the backup? Is he going to come in and step up for him?
Well, heck, I forgot to even update this. They announced Brandon Clark is also injured. So Landale might be the starting center with Aldama. And, so the front court play is definitely going to be lackluster to start the season.
Yeah, it's just going to be a rough one probably for Grizzlies. But with obviously when they're healthy, and they will be healthy for probably a decent chunk of the season, they're going to win 30-plus games pretty handily, I think.
Interesting. All right, so the Grizzlies pretty low there for Joey. Ben, what's your 13th seed?
I had the Sacramento Kings at 13.
Oh,
get out of here. I got my stress ball just in case.
Curious what I think. Problem with the Kings is that they're just going to be mediocre, I think. And the Kings, I have a hard time trusting them because they just seem to be confused on what in the world to do. I'm just confused on what direction this team will be going in. I think it'll show during the season. I don't think they're going to be very good defensively, but I think they can win a decent amount of games, win some games because they got DeMar DeRozan. He could be a clutch player. He's getting older, but can still do great stuff in the mid-range on offense. They got Sabonis, who I expect to continue to be a great rebounder, great scorer. But as we talked about before, he's not a great defender. And they got Zach LaVine. Once again, it's another pretty good scorer, not great defender. It's just the Kings got a lot of scorers on their team, but I don't see a whole lot of defenders, and I just doubt that the Kings are really going to be able to get back to like what they were a few years ago when they actually made the playoffs, and thinking, they're at the look to possibly move off some guys and rebuild it. Best possible direction I think they're going to need to look to go in the future.
No more Mike Brown.
Nope.
No, and Doug Christie did do a good job the second half of last season, so we'll see if they can take that forward. I believe they were 28-22 with him as the head coach, so they were definitely better with him as the head coach, so maybe that can lead into the season. We'll see, though. They're definitely a tough team to predict. Nick, who's your 12th seed?
I put Memphis here. I think they're going to have a down year, man. I don't like their roster. I like it even less that we talked about 3 of their front court players are going to be out to start the year. I think they're going to have a down year. But with that being said, I listened to the Hoop Collective this week, and they talked about how 3 years ago or last year they tried to do a prediction for the forecast of each team, and how Memphis was ranked number 1 at the start of last year or the start of 2 years ago for having the best 5-year or 3-year runway with their roster. And I do think that John Morant and Jaren Jackson are still in their prime or entering it. They're going to be very good for the next couple of years and keep that window open for Memphis if they can surround them with some more players. But then they got guys like Cedric Howard, who is very interesting. Zach Edey, who is kind of unproven, but also very interesting. So I think that they could have a down year, but then be right back in the top 6 mix next year, competing for a top 6 spot next year.
I don't
know for sure. Joey, who's your 12th seed?
I know we've talked very highly of this team, but I do have the Portland Trailblazers there at 12.
I do as well.
Oh,
Miles, you love Portland.
What happened? I thought I didn't want to offend you.
No, that's where I've got the Trailblazers.
I have Portland at 12 too.
Let's go.
I'm the highest on the Blazers.
Nick is the highest on the Blazers. So after a whole off season of him talking about us being too high on the Atlanta Hawks and the Portland Trailblazers, he's got the Blazers higher than the rest of us on this.
They're only at 11. Let's Tamp it down. Tamp it down.
Okay.
They're only one spot higher. They're still out.
No, I do. I as you guys know, I love the Portland Trailblazers roster, and they should be, a great defensive team once again, I unfortunately Scoot Henderson is going to be out for 1 to 2 months to start the season after a hand injury, which I think is going to be difficult because this was going to be a great opportunity for him to start the season with Damian Lillard, of course, out for the season to get reins there as either the backup or the starting point guard to really run the Trailblazers offense and see what he could be in now his third year in the league. And, a third-year jump for a point guard, that happens a decent amount for those top, prospect players. And that's something that he still could have. It's just going to be difficult, since he's going to be out for the first 4 to 8 weeks of the season. And overall, like we talked about with their preview, it's unclear who their best player is, who their number one guy is going to be this season. And I just think the teams that I have above them, it is clear, and just have more pedigree on their resume so far than this Portland Trailblazers team. But I would not be surprised if they were higher than a couple other teams and did make a playing spot because they do have the defensive potential. And I still don't know how teams are going to be able to score against them because they are lethal defensively.
Yeah, even with me having them at 12, I have them just below 40 wins at like 39 and 43. Like,
dude, that's what I got them. I literally have them at 39 and 43.
But just a spot higher. But yeah, no, they're gonna win a good chunk of games. Like, they're not completely out of the play-in at all, being at 12. Like we said, the 7 through 14 is extremely close. Them at 12 means they're still right in the hunt. Like, this very well could mean they could go up to like 9 or 8 even.
Yeah, we keep saying 7 through 14. I'm interested to see if we're gonna have the same top 6 across the board.
We'll see. I'm not 100% confident on it. I've got a hot take coming up here in a little bit, so that might include one of them. But 11th is where I have the Memphis Grizzlies. I think they'll have a bit of a down year as well. We already discussed them a bunch. Ben, who's your 11th seed?
I agree, Miles. I got Memphis at 11 too.
Wow, so all of us have them missing the play-in. How about that?
Wow,
crazy.
I was thinking when I
don't trade Desmond Bane
predictions that okay, at least one or a few of you guys had to have the Grizzlies higher than me, but no, I'm surprised by that. And yeah, I'm not real high in them. They got Jad, they got Jaren, who played great. Still, their coaching situation I don't think is the best, and yeah, that's not great to start the year with their big man issue. Boy, that's going to be tough to start the season, but they should get better once Jared Jackson and Zach Edey get back in the lineup. That would, really make a difference when that will happen. And I like Ty Jerome there at the Grizzlies. I think he can do a pretty good job in the regular season for them, like he did on the Cavs. I think he can be up there as one of the better 6-man again this year. And Jalen Wells and Coward, I like those guys a lot as young shooting guards. I see some pretty good potential of those guys, and I'm intrigued to see what they can do this year.
Yeah, the Grizzlies are just, when you look at their roster and then with the injuries, it's just a whole bunch of guards that don't have centers to set screens for pick and roll opportunity. Like, that was the big thing last year was Ja Morant had a bit of a down year because he wasn't getting downhill as much with them running less pick and rolls. And this season, I think they were going to try to get back to that a little bit. And now their centers are injured. Their big guys to set screens are injured. So just not a great start there for the Grizzlies. Joey, who's your 11th seed?
My number 11 seed is the Phoenix Buns. I have them. I honestly think them blowing up the Big Three is going to do wonders for that team. I truly think they're going to look like a completely different team. I know it looks like a cluster. It's just a mess. It really is. But with Devin Booker, Jalen, they got some good guys. And I think they're going to put a lot together, and they're going to at least have promise going into the future, or at least just things looking up in competitiveness. But that's about it. I have them at 40 and 42 at the 11.
Not bad. That'd be a pretty good season there for the Phoenix Suns. And crazy enough, it'd probably be their best season in the last couple of years, which is very interesting. So now we are in the play-in tournament. My 10th seed, that's where I have the Sacramento Kings. I think they're going to sneak into the play-in tournament. It is kind of, I'm not really entirely, I think I do know what they're doing. The Kings through the 2000s to the 2010s were awful. They might have been the GFF during that time period. There were a lot of here's the thing. There were a lot of teams because we could have that whole discussion. There's the Nets, the Timberwolves, the Kings, the Suns. Like, there's a whole lot of things. But the Kings had the longest playoff drought in league history. They got a taste of it in 2023, and then they were able to get DeRozan, Levine. They get Schroeder. So they're getting these, big name players. But household names, you'd say, around the NBA. So they don't want their fans to have to go back through a period of where they're awful again. So I think they're pretty content with staying this, just okay and in the middle, and being in a situation where they'll be in close games down the stretch, and they have a bunch of closers on their team. So that'll get them to a situation to where I think they can still make the play-in tournament and be playing games at the end of the season that will matter. And that's why I have them here at 10. I think they still have a decent enough roster, but I do think they need to shift their direction pretty quickly here, because if this is the result we get once again.
I also have them at 10. I know I'm the biggest Kings fan here, but their defense, like Ben said when he had them solo, it's not going to be good. But they got enough, at least like star power and like capable NBA vets that are going to keep them competitive. Even in this loaded, like, there's a lot of guys on here that have playoff experience and that have been there before and know how to win. It's just they need to at least put it together all on the same team. And I think they can at least do that at 42-40. I think they'll be just around 500.
I'm starting to think that we all just went nice on the Kings because we're family with Joey. Me and Miles are related to Joey, so we had to put the Kings top 10. I have them here as well.
Okay.
Yeah, the defense is obviously the big question, the biggest downside of this team. But we can talk about like rosters and experience and stuff all day long. What I honestly think is going to be the saving grace for their defense in terms of like what happens on the court is the fact that they have two of the best point of attack defenders in Dennis Schroeder and Keon Ellis across the league. Like, if those guys are keeping drives out, keeping like Cade Cunningham's and Jalen Brunson's and whoever else out of the paint, then that's going to go a long way to helping on that end. And then even if they do give up a drive once in a while, like, you have long guys with size who like know where to stand and be in the right spot if they can sort of anticipate that stuff. But Sabonis isn't a great defender. Levine and DeRozan are long and they can stand in the right spot is my point. So I think that'll be a bit of their saving grace, but I do agree that they need to change their direction here soon.
Yeah. They will be able to put up points, though, because they do have a lot of reliable scorers, hoping that we get a bounce-back season for Keegan Murray. After he had a great rookie season, I think he had the record for most threes by a rookie in a season. The last 2 years, he's really fallen off from three-point range. He's gone from 41% in his rookie season to 36 and 34% the last couple of years, which is average to below average for a guy that has, potential, at the four. I think he's someone that could really take a leap for this team. But we're starting to we need to kind of see it here in a little bit, now that he's already 24 years old. Ben, who's your 10th seed in the West?
10, I got the Phoenix Suns. Yep.
Oh, I didn't even realize that was still an option.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, the Phoenix Suns as a play-in tournament team. Joey mentioned before that his dad, Uncle Joe, he also thought the Suns were like a playing caliber team, and I agree with him. I think the Suns are going to try to compete this year because, like Miles brought up, they can't really afford to tank, and I think Devin Booker, he's going to be really hungry to win. And I think no Beal and Durant anymore, that he's honestly got a better team to work with because they brought in Jalen Green, and he's played really well the last few years at times during the regular seasons. He was a big part in the Rockets having a great regular season. So I I'm high on Jalen Green with being able to perform really well the regular season. That's going to help with that. And also, they got defense now. They got some actual big men who I think could play good. I think Common Molly Watch and Mark Williams could stay healthy. They could play some tough defense that makes it tough for teams to score on them in the inside. And they could be good at catching some lobs, maybe from Booker or Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks. He's really going to bring a great mentality to that team. I think they'll just keep being Dylan Brooks, be a great defender. You got Ryan Dunn there, some great, perimeter defenders there. I think Ryan Dunn could have a great year as a defender. And I like James Odd or
Oh, Jordan Ott, their head
Jordan
coach.
Odd. Yeah, that's his name. I respect him and like for the Cavs. I think he'll bring a good culture to this team. I think that's the better direction at head coach.
Yeah, for sure. I think it'll be fun to watch Phoenix Suns basketball this season. 9th seed. This one might ruffle some feathers here. This is a hot take right here. This is where I have the
Wait, can I guess?
Yeah, I guess. Go ahead.
Minnesota?
Yes, Minnesota Timberwolves at the
Wow.
9th seed.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
I'm not that surprised. I think they're gonna be a lot worse.
Minnesota, after making the last 2 Western Conference Finals, I mean, I just have a lot of concerns with their team. The 2 most important positions in basketball, the point guard and the center spot. I mean, there are just a lot of questions with
Gobert
Mike
and Conley.
Yeah, Mike Conley, Rudy Gobert. I'm trying
They
to
lost
find
Alexander Walker to the Hawks. That was a big loss. The one guy that they have is Behringer on the Wolves. Did he get drafted there?
Yes.
Yeah, he'll be very interesting. See if he can learn from him, maybe even steal some of Gobert's minutes. Yeah, Miles, 9 is lower than I would have put them. That means you got the Spurs and the Kyrie-less Mavs above them.
Yes, I do.
But I do think it'll be close. I have the Wolves at 44, the Spurs at 44, and the Mavs at 42. So a little spoiler, but I agree.
Pretty close. Yeah, the Wolves, again, point guard and center, Conley and Gobert, they're getting older. I think there are question marks there. And then the bench, besides Naz Reid and DiVincenzo, just a lot of unproven guys there. I mean, they really only have 7 players on their team that legitimately played for them last season. And again, Conley and Gobert, I think, are question marks. You got Rob Dillingham, who didn't play a whole lot in his rookie season. I mentioned my concerns about him being the point guard of their future. I think Jalen Clark can be good. He's kind of just a defensive guard at this point. Terrence Shannon will get a lot of opportunities, and I think he will be strong for this team. But then there's the Berenjers, the Leonard Millers, like just a bunch of guys that are just unproven in this league that are
even Shannon is unproven.
Yeah, Terrence Shannon's. I mean, they just have a lot of unproven guys on their team, and I just don't really like their roster at this current moment in time. And I just really like the situation for a lot of these other teams better. And obviously, Anthony Edwards is insane. I think he's going to have an incredible year this year. I'm just not sure how far it'll take them this season. I mentioned it a bunch of times. I think they got in a couple very advantageous playoff series last year to get them to the conference finals. And in most other situations, they would not have made it past the first round. They took advantage of their opportunity, which, all credit to them. But this season, I think it's going to be difficult. I think the Western Conference is going to be a lot better, and they got worse this offseason. They're one of the few teams that got worse. So that's why I have them this low.
I don't hate the reasoning. I guess I'm still more of a believer in, and Edwards. I have him a little higher. I actually have him out of the play-in. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, I don't think that. Yeah, I'm not too surprised by that. I think they're still projected to win like 50 games, which I think is a little crazy.
That's a little crazy. I wouldn't go that far.
But anyway, so Nick, you kind of spoiled a little bit. Who's your 9th seed?
The Mavericks.
That's where you have the Mavericks. All right.
That's where I also have the Mavericks. I have them at 45 and 37. Still winning a lot of games, but playing because the West is that freaking tough.
Well, they're going to have to figure some stuff out in the beginning of the year with Cooper Flagg and how much they want to put the ball in his hands and what that really looks like. Dude, I've been playing with the Mavs on 2K. They're phenomenal on 2K. Jaden Hardy, just skip D'Lo. Kyrie, straight to Jaden Hardy. Little pro tip for you.
Yeah, I mean, well, in 2K, I mean, they're huge, so that helps. And in real life too, they're huge. I mean, we saw how the potential in the 2.5 quarters they played against a good Houston Rockets team, and how great they played before Anthony Davis got hurt. And unfortunately, we're not going to get to see the whole thing really materialize until Kyrie gets back. Hopefully, some point in the second half of the season. I've voiced my concerns about Kyrie about putting the Mavericks as a contending team this season. I'm not sure if we should be doing that. But I still think they're going to be really good. I have them as my 8th seed. But, Ben, who's your 9th seed?
Yeah, it got tough at the 9th seed. Man, I was considering multiple different teams here, and I was thinking, oh, this could go either way.
He's
But
leading it
this
up.
might be kind of a hot take to you guys. I have the Golden State Warriors at number 9. Steph, I still think can be great, but they didn't do a whole ton this offseason. They got Al Horford, who could be a nice fit as a stretch big, but he's getting old. He's like 40, and Quentin Post is still developing. He still is a bit unproven down there, so I have question marks about their big rotation. I worry about their size. I think that could be hard for them when they play the Spurs and the Nuggets, especially. And Jimmy Butler, you know, look in the regular seasons with the Heat the past few years, the Heat, I predicted them to finish more higher with Butler as a star player, but then Butler didn't play as good as I thought he would in the regular season, and they finished lower. And I questioned how will Butler do in the regular season? He can compliment Curry well, but how motivated will it be? That was a question mark. And then the whole Kaminga thing's crazy too. How will that loom over the team? That I think will kind of loom over them, and that's the tough situation they're in. But Steph's there, and they'll be competitive. They'll be good as long as they got Steph there. He still does incredible things.
Yeah, I'm glad. We're talking about that. We should probably talk about the Kuminga thing, since now we're near the deadline up. Of course, we've been talking Jonathan Kuminga the whole off season. We're coming up on 3 months since the start of free agency. When this comes out, it'll be exactly 3 months since the start of free agency, and this Kuminga thing is going right to the deadline here. We've talked about on this podcast. We've known since the start of free agency that they were going to get Al Horford. They just announced that a couple days ago. They just announced Anthony Melton, Gary Payton, hoping to get Seth Curry to pair the Curry brothers together, which would be awesome. But that kind of depends on this Kuminga thing. His deadline to accept his $8 million qualifying offer is on Wednesday. And basically, by the Warriors making the Horford, Melton, and Payton signings official, it officially means that Kuminga's only options are to take the qualifying offer, or I guess really to decline it, and he's a free agent. Just an unrestricted free agent that can then sign with the Suns or the Kings, whichever team he wants to go to. So, Nick, it's crazy that this is going all the way here to the deadline. But just what do you think about this going up to the deadline, and what do you think will actually happen?
I have no idea. You're anybody's guess, probably at this point. And I don't even know if Kuminga himself knows, because if he did, then why wouldn't he have just made the decision by now? My hope is that Steve Kerr can, rally the troops and overcome the adversity, and it's, all sunshine and rainbows and Golden State with Kuminga and Dre and Jimmy and Steph. My belief tells me otherwise, but that is my hope.
I agree. There would be a much better basketball team with Kuminga out there, and that they can trust him and stuff. But there's nothing that's telling you can't right now.
Yeah, for sure. But as far as Joe, I think you were about to say something with the Warriors. You have them as your 8th seed?
I do. I was about to say, it's not much of a hot take there, Ben, because I only have them one spot higher. They're going to win a lot of games because that starting lineup is still really, really good. And until Curry shows a sign of slowing down, I'm going to continue to believe he's still one of the best point guards on the planet. And that translates to a lot of wins. So I still think they're going to be competitive, probably make the playoffs as a playing seed and hosting a game. So, but I don't know. Who knows? This Kuminga thing could really shake it all up, honestly. Because if he's on the team, they could even possibly sneak into the playoffs because it helps out with their depth so much.
But at the same time, we've seen him on the floor with their other best player. He can't play with their other best players, so it doesn't. I don't know, him being on the team or not. I honestly don't think it makes that much of a difference. I just wish the Warriors would have accepted a signing trade offer so that they wouldn't lose this guy for nothing. Because if they getting Royce O'Neal and second round picks or getting Malik Monk, although you could look on paper and say, all right, those are worse players than Kuminga, still better than nothing. And if he's on your team, since he can't fit with your other great players, he's basically worth nothing to the Golden State Warriors right now. But despite all that, I still have the Warriors a bit higher here. But Nick, who is your eighth seed?
My eighth is the Spurs.
That's where he's got the Spurs.
Finally getting around to the Spurs.
I only have them one spot higher at 7.
The Spurs are going to make the playoffs, boys.
I do as well. I have the Spurs at 7.
Yippee-ki-yay.
Wemby time.
Yeah, it's Wemby time down there in San Antonio.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know.
I'd be so excited to see him in the playoffs. I know that's what every NBA fan has been hoping for ever since he was drafted into this league, and we were hoping it was going to be with Pop and one last run, but obviously that unfortunately didn't happen. But either way, I agree. I think we're going to see Wemby in playoff basketball this year, and it's going to be real exciting.
Yeah, I think year 3 is about the time where the player and the team makes a little bit of a jump, but really on the back of a player. But the Spurs, the Spurs do have a good roster as well. But Ben, you've been a little quiet. Do you have them a bit higher? Who's your 8th seed?
At the 8th seed, I have the Los Angeles Lakers.
Oh!
Yeah. Yeah.
Bombshell.
Look, I don't think they're going to be very good defensively. That's not going to help them. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that center rotation still, even though we got a 10 better at 8, but that's not going to be great still. Luka, yes, I believe he could have a super good year, but I worry about the fit of this team. Things aren't going to fit the best is what I'm predicting at times. And got LeBron who's getting old, but I still think he can have some great games, but it's going to be hard for him to play every game and have him out there all the time. That might kind of affect them. And yeah, Gigi Redick, he's going the second year. I think he'll have some more knowledge as a coach this year, but he'll still be developing, I think.
I love that. I love that take, Ben. That is great.
So about the question that you had saying if we would all have the same top 6, that is not correct.
No, it is not correct. That is something else. All right, I like it though. Nick, who's your 7th seed? Joey and I both have the Spurs at 7. So
who did you have as your 8, Miles?
That's where I had Dallas.
Yeah.
At 8. Yeah, I think, defensively they're still going to be they're going to be great. I think offensively there are concerns with Kyrie being out. I think D'Angelo Russell is still good. He had an off year last year, but before that he's been pretty efficient and he's getting to
2K terms. I was speaking in 2K terms.
No, very, very true. But no, last year he did have a pretty awful year for the Lakers and when he got traded back to the Nets. But I think he'll be a serviceable point guard. They have good point guard depth. They even got Dennis Smith Jr. We'll see if he makes the roster. But yeah, I'm excited to see how they experiment with Cooper Flag. I think something they're going to need to figure out is what are they going to focus on more? Focus on going out to try and win, go all in on winning a championship this season because of the Luka trade and Nico Harrison saying that you got a 3 to 4 year window, or developing this potentially generational talent in Cooper Flag with the ball in his hands, having him as a spot-up guy, like what they got to figure out what do they want to focus on more, because we've seen the 2 timeline thing, and you can't do both at once. You got to pick one for the season. So that's something they need to figure out. But overall, I think they're going to be really good defensively with flashes on the offensive end, and I have them as the 8th seed.
Mm-hmm.
But Nick, your 7th seed.
Minnesota. I got them this low. I kind of made my case that I think they got worse. And Miles, you were dead on about the 2 most important positions in basketball, and they got question marks there. 7 guys and only 5 without a question mark. So
yeah,
got them at 7.
Ben, who's your 7th seed?
I have Dallas here at 7. Yeah, Dallas during the regular season, it's going to take some time for them, like at the start, to figure things out. It's kind of a 2 timeline thing, like Miles said, with Cooper Flag there, developing. You should want to give him the ball, develop him. Come on, that's a generational prospect you got in your hands right there. Then you still got Anthony Davis, who I hope he can stay healthy. It would be a lot of fun if Anthony Davis could stay healthy. I'm believing he can stay more healthy. I think he could look dominant at times with Dallas this year. He can do great stuff offensively, and I think he'll be awesome defensively. And overall, I really like the Mavericks' depth. I think they have some of the best depth out of any team in the league. Like, at point guard, it's awesome point guard depth, especially when Kyrie comes back. Like, man, like, and I think D'Lo could do a good job, be good and serviceable before Kyrie comes back in there at the starting spot there. And I think Kyrie, once he comes back, I guess it'll take some time for him to get used to things, but to get back to playing at a high level. And I think the Mavs will get things more figured out there, and will be able to land the 7th seed. And I think they're going to look scary going into the playoffs this year. Like, the Mavs are going to be no easy team for teams to face this year, especially when they get Kyrie back with all that depth and just having all different guys who can do all different things well, and having just great height and length.
And the good thing for the Mavs, too, is if they want to take this year to develop Cooper Flag, get the bigs used to playing with each other, and all that sort of thing, that's fine. Their top 12 players are all under contract next season. So they're going to have the same team next year unless, they decide to make a transaction or something. So I think next year is the year where they should be looked at to be, I think, a top team in the Western Conference. But this year, don't worry about winning, about being a championship contending team. Just focus on developing Cooper Flag, get Anthony Davis, Derek Lively, all those guys used to playing with each other, and then go from there next season. I'm really excited to see what that team does.
I feel like they can do both. I mean, I know you said they can't do both, the 2 timeline thing. They can't fully develop Flag and fully go after the championship. But if they go after the championship, that's going to help his development, because you're throwing him into high pressure situations where you're going to have an expectation that he performs.
True. It's just it'll be interesting because offensively, you could say his best asset when he has the ball is passing, and even for LeBron James, he didn't come in as an incredible playmaker. Like, it took him a few years to really develop full on NBA level passing, and so we'll just see. But should be an incredible year to see Cooper Flag play. So now our playoff lock teams, we're in the top 6. 6 is where I had the Los Angeles Lakers, and I thought I was going to have them pretty low. So seeing Ben have them at 8 was something else, but I like it because I absolutely agree. I do not like the fit of the players on this team. Their best defender in their starting lineup is LeBron James, and then they're the 3 best defenders on their team: Marcus Smart, Jared Vanderbilt, and you could even say like Maxi Kleber as a versatile defender, are all unreliable. They're all injury prone. They're all obviously a year older. And offensively, in the starting 5, 4 of the 5 guys want the ball, and they're not, and none of them are playing defense. So I feel like the blueprint going against them can be pretty simple. Just get Luka or Reeves on you, or even Ayton or LeBron. They're not going to want to play defense. and then just go at them. I mean, I feel like what the Timberwolves did, exposing them in the playoffs, I think that's a blueprint that teams are going to need to do against them because they're obviously very talented, especially offensively. They should be a great offensive team. Got to make them work at the other end.
Yeah, I have him at 6 too. For a lot of the same reasons. The one fit I do like is LeBron and Luca, and I think they're going to be great together as they were last year. And the offense is going to be cooking. Um, and I see a world where they're like playing well on the offensive end, well enough to like win games at the end. And even if they give up 125 points, like maybe they can score 120, 136. Like, you know what I mean? But the thing is, it's going to be a long season with LeBron as your best defender, and constantly getting blown by and giving up layup after layup. And if that ends up being the case, it just takes a toll on you throughout the course of a season. And I think there's going to be some games where they should win heading in, like they should win and they end up losing, or at towards the end of the game, like they just fumble it because it's going to be a taxing season on this team. And yeah, I have them at 6, 46 and 36.
There are going to be some games where they just can't get it together, like against the Suns or the Pelicans.
Right.
Like
Right.
random games that they should
Right.
win, they're just going to drop. And the thing is too, like they could obviously, if they really wanted to, they could make a change in their starting lineup to add more defenders. But tell me which one of those starters is going to be okay coming off the bench. None of them are going to be okay coming off the bench, so they can't make that change. They can't make the adjustment. So they're stuck in playing this one way, and they can't really go another direction because those guys all need to be on the floor when it matters most. You would think,
Right.
So it'll be very interesting to see what happens, but. Definitely a lot of questions. I think there are more questions with the Lakers than a lot of other teams in the West.
I am all on board for this Lakers hate, man. I love it. Even though I don't feel the exact same way, have them a little higher, but I love it. I really hope that I hope they fall in where Ben has them, honestly. I truly do. That would make me so happy as just an NBA fan. I love seeing the big markets just tank.
Yeah. But that said, Joey, who's your 6th seed?
I have the Timberwolves. I still believe in Ant Edwards. I think they're still a really solid defensive team. I think some of the other guys will step up. I'm a big believer in Terrence Shannon Jr. as well. So I don't know. I think they're winning just under 50 games. But come on, this is still a really, really good, pretty deep team still. And who knows? Hopefully Dillingham takes a step because you guys are absolutely right. They're going to really need to find out this year because Conley is, I would assume this is one of his final years.
Well, it's one of his final years being starter quality, if that's even still a case this year.
Yeah,
like
I agree. That's the biggest question, honestly, in my opinion.
They could end up moving Ant to the 1 and starting like Jalen Clark or Dante next to him.
They could. They might put the ball in Ant's hands a lot and experiment with his playmaking. But either way, I'm not sure if that can get you through a whole regular season and playoffs with, again, a top 7. Like
he's not a point guard. He's a score. He's a shoot. He's a score first.
It's very similar to like Devin Booker running the point guard. Like, yeah, he can play make, but they're at their best at when they play the 2 guard.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Ben, who do you have as the 6th seed?
I have Minnesota as the 6th seed too. Wow. I think the Timberwolves this year, should look like just overall great team. I think, they'll be a bit better than they were last year, the regular season. I think they'll understand, be more motivated, I guess, to try and get a higher seed, not being the play-in at least this year. Or actually, I think they were the 6th seed last year.
Yes.
Team spot, actually, but they'll be motivated, and I think Anthony Edwards will be awesome once again, and I just think he'll look even more improved and look like one of the top guys in the league, one of the top guards in the league. I'm a big believer in him and with greatness coming from him this year. And they got Randall, who I trust him more now with what he showed in the playoffs
Hold
last
on.
year.
What a sentence you said right there. Can you believe
Jason
I
Tatum.
trust Randall more after the playoffs? Whoever thought that would have been said after
Yeah, I
going into
know.
last year?
Yeah, I think Randall could do pretty well, and still got Gobert, who could be pretty tough uh, at the center spot to score on. Naz Reed's great bench guy. I think Juwan Behringer produced flashes his rookie year. I'm interested in seeing what happens with that. And then, yeah, I'm interested in seeing Rob Dillingham not really look what he plays, just like the rest of us, because that's one of the main things they obviously have to figure out.
Yeah, absolutely. I could see the Wolves still finishing in this spot, but none of us have them being over the moon great or anything like that.
6 is the highest.
Yeah. Fifth seed. This is where I actually have the Golden State Warriors. I really like their team heading into the season. Nick, you do as well? Wow, how about that? So yeah, I like the Warriors team going forward. I mean, they were great the second half of the year with Jimmy Butler. Yes, they are old, but they just fit together. Like unlike a lot of these other teams, that's why I have them higher than the Lakers, is because they fit very well together. The Horford signing I think was great because last season we finally saw evidence with Quentin Post, a rookie, with how valuable a shooting five can be when you have Steph Curry on the floor. What a crazy concept that we finally saw take place last season. And this offseason, they get Horford, who he is super old. At this time last season, I thought last year was gonna be his final season. He signed a multi-year deal with the Warriors, so he's planning on playing still a couple more seasons from the looks of it. And he, with the Celtics, he's obviously, really reliable from three-point range. He's a great defender still, even at 38, 39 years old. He can defend switches. He can defend guards. He's a very good playmaker. They can play him out of the post, similar to how they use Draymond Green. So I love the fit there. And of course, Jimmy Butler, when he got there with the Warriors, they were 22-5 the second half of the year. They beat the two-seeded Houston Rockets. And who knows if Steph Curry doesn't get injured, they were handily beating the Timberwolves in game one of that series. So I think this is a very, solid Warriors team here that just fits together, very well on both ends of the floor.
Yeah, the roster's super balanced, isn't it? Steph is going to have a ton of space to drive into with a Horford out there now. And I think Jimmy Butler's also going to be able to, just play, make, and create shots for Steph and Al. And Draymond's going to be doing his thing, getting Steph open looks. Like, the gravity of Steph isn't going away, and they're just adding more space. So it's good little equation, good little recipe they got down there.
Yeah, I like what the Warriors have going on. Joey, who is your fifth seed?
I have the Lakers. I have them at 51-31. I think they're going to be really good offensively. With Luka and LeBron, they're going to obviously win just a crazy amount of games just by them too. A. Reeves had a phenomenal year. I think Ayton's not bad. I think their center depth is a little better than last year, but not much. But their defense is going to be atrocious. You're absolutely right. I'll be honest, even though I have them at the fifth seed, I don't take them as legit title contenders. I probably have the Wolves as probably better contenders, or even the Warriors, even though they're just, I think, in the regular season going to do worse.
Yeah, it's an interesting question. Who's the better contender
between
those three teams?
When it comes to the playoffs, defense heightens up, and some of those Lakers guys are going to get run off the court, aka like Luka, maybe LeBron because of how old he is. Ayton might
But they were the 3 seed last year, and no one has them above 5. Is that right?
Yeah, that is correct. Because we saw what happened in the Timberwolves series, and I feel, again, like I said, I think that is the blueprint that teams are going to follow here. Because it's pretty simple. Again, like you just go at these negative defenders, and again, they can't really take them off the floor. Like Marcus Smart could be a good addition. Jared Vanderbilt could play more games. Jake LaRavia could be a nice find in free agency for this team. But none of those guys can play starting level minutes with the top end talent on this team. There's no question how talented this team is. They might be a top 3 talented team in the entire NBA. But I feel like what we've seen at times over the last couple seasons is it's not about who has the best talent. It's who has the best combination of talent and the fit on both ends of the floor. And right now, the Lakers just don't really have that. Ben, who is your 5th seed?
I have the San Antonio Spurs at the 5th seed. And I am a big believer of Victor Wembanyama this year. Yeah, I think he's going to look like one of the best players in the league starting this year is what I'm predicting. Look, just, how are guys going to score on the man at times? He's 7'4", as measured at media.
That's right. Yeah, 7'4".
Like, he's huge, and he can just block shots so well. I mean, he could just be maybe just standing there, not even having to jump, and still block shots and get stops. And then offensively, he can shoot it. I think he has a decent jump shot that will look even better this year, and will just be dominant on the paint on that end, too, with how big and athletic the guy is. And then I love that he has multiple pretty good guards to feed him the basketball. De'Aaron Fox is back healthy this year, and I think they're going to figure it out, him and Wemby, pretty well this year. I think Fox will do his thing, score pretty well, average around, like 24-something points per game, I guess, and he'll pass it into Wemby good, and you got Dylan Harper, number 2 pick. Wow, he's a great prospect. He's one of the better point guard prospects I've seen recently in drafts, and that's awesome that you get to put him next to Wemby. That's just adding him in there is just such a great building block for the future. But I am interested in seeing how it all works with Fox, Harper, and Stephon Castle too. Won Rookie of the Year, also good too. I'm interested in seeing how that will fit in, but I think it could fit in fine here the regular season. Will just really help Wemby out, and I think guys on the wing will step it up more. Like I think Jeremy Shohan will be a good defender, and I think Devin Vassell and Keldon Johnson should be solid. Harrison Barnes could come in and knock down some big shots. I like the Spurs this year for the regular season. Like I said before, surprises. Recently I've seen teams who haven't made the play and have all just randomly one year jump in, be a playoff team, not even just a playing team. The Spurs, I'm picking them to be that team this year.
I would say that's probably expected if there's any team. I mean, we all have them in the top 8, which is very interesting. We all expect them to make the jump into at least making the postseason. But yeah, Ben, you're absolutely right. Last year we saw the Rockets in the West and the Pistons in the East jump up a lot of spots to make the playoffs last season. There is always a couple teams that make that jump. I know in the East. I mean, the main one is the Atlanta Hawks for most of us, having them jump up a whole lot of spots. In the Western Conference, very well could be the San Antonio Spurs. I'm surprised all of us do have them in the top 8. But now Joey,
how long is De'Aaron Fox out? I know Ben said he's healthy, but I saw that asterisk you had on his on the roster.
Correct. So he did say during media day today, as of recording, that he does have a bit of a hamstring injury, and he said he's unlikely to play in the season opener. So it might just be a game by game basis. We have no idea how severe it is, but if it's just 1 to 2 to 3 games, then it shouldn't be that big of a deal. If anything, it'll give Dylan Harper a chance to start in his first games, which will be very fun to watch. Yeah. That'll be on I believe opening night or one of their first games. Their first game's against Dallas. So he'll get a chance to play against a big team there to start off his career against
number one versus 2 right away. It's going to be a great start to the year
for sure. So we've said multiple times we didn't have the exact same top 6, but with that all of us have the same top 4 teams. We'll just see what the order is. So my 4th seed is where I have the Los Angeles Clippers.
Bingo bongo.
Yes, Joey, why do you have the Clippers at 4?
Okay. They are one of the big winners of this, of this offseason. I would say I really like this Clippers team by Nick. But maybe not biggest winners of this offseason, but I really like what they did. Like, I don't think Beal is going to be as bad as that Suns experiment was. They're bringing back Chris Paul. I think Zubac is going to be as good. It's just they're made for the playoffs. This team, there's going to be a lot of guys that are going to not play back-to-back, probably take games off, rest here for like a couple games here or there. But this is a really, really good team. This is a minimum. I have them at 55 wins. But in my opinion, a minimum 50-game or 50-win season it should be, at least in the regular season, to come playoff time if they're all healthy. I think they're a legit contender in that West. This is a really good team.
And again, Bradley Beal, last season he still averaged 17, 3, and 4 on 50, 39, 80 shooting splits, which is still good. I mean, it's good. It's just that he was making $53 million for a Suns team with expectations. And those numbers for $53 million, not the best. Those numbers for $5 million is a bargain and one of the best deals in the league. So, and him playing on a team where, he's going to be a top scoring option. They're going to ask him to do what Norman Powell did for this team last season for $5 million. If he can put up that production, that's going to be huge for this team. So I think they're going to be really good. I think they'll be the 4th seed because I think they'll just get through the regular season. Of course, we have no idea what's going to happen with this Kawhi Leonard aspiration deal. That might change things, but we just have to go off of what's going to happen on the floor. And based off that, Joey and I have them as, we all have them as top 4 teams in the Western Conference.
Nothing's come down officially on Kawhi. So as of now, everything is business as normal. And as right now, this team is really good.
Yeah, for sure. Nick, who is your 4th seed?
I put Houston here. I think the Van Vliet injury is a big thing that's going to hurt them in the beginning of the year, throughout the whole year, because they're going to have to figure out who their point guard is now. They don't have a ton of ball handling. Fred was going to be like the guy with the ball in his hands most of the time running the show, and now he's just gone. So someone else is going to have to step up, and that's not going to be the smoothest thing, at least in my at least that's what I'm thinking. It's not going to be a smooth transition. Although, Amen Thompson might just step in and go buck wild and be an all-star and average 7 to 8 assists a night. Like, that would be something special.
Right, that's the thing here. Of course, this injury occurred between podcasts, so this is our first time talking about it. Tore his ACL, is going to miss the season. Just horrible, devastating news for one of the real catalysts for the Rockets' turnaround over the last couple seasons. There's no coincidence that when he got there and Dylan Brooks got there in the same offseason, that they started to get a lot better from being in the basement of the conference to, I believe, 11th seed to 2 seed to now being a hopeful championship contender, getting Kevin Durant in the offseason. But yeah, it's a huge question now. Joey, who do you think Ime Udoka is going to start now? Because obviously, there are a number of ways he can go here, with Van Vliet out, but he's such an important piece to this team. How do you think they're going to try and replace that?
Well, I think how you have it right here, I think Aaron Holiday will probably start, but they really could do a lot of different things. They can even have KD or Thompson bring up the ball. And honestly, Sengun, we call him the mini Jokic, and I wouldn't be shocked if every now and then he would even bring up the ball. It wouldn't shock me, at least. They're going to kind of do it by committee, at least in the starting lineup. But the big question, is they need to know what they have with Reed Shepherd. Because Aaron Holiday, he is just, for right now, until you find out what you have with Reed Shepherd, he is kind of the Band-Aid just to fill it in. He can run the offense. He'll be solid. But Reed Shepherd is that future. And if he's just not it, you got to know as soon as possible. And you're going to find out, because this is a really good team around him. All you have to do is get it to your star players and run the offense. You don't even have to go crazy on the offense and yourself. Fred VanVleet doesn't, but we call him almost elite because he gets everybody involved like that. And that's all you have to do. But that is a tall task with how good your team is. You got a lot to live up to.
Absolutely. Ben, who is your 4th seed in the West?
I had the Clippers at 4 too.
Okay.
I think the Clippers have great depth. Have some of the best depth in the league, and Kawhi, James Harden are great players. I think this team's more built for the playoffs. Like they're the rest guys in some games. I still think they can win some games even with guys rested because they're that loaded with depth. And I'm excited to see Chris Paul there for his final year, and Bradley Beal is there, and I think he could be pretty good. Not a mess there. I love Vika Zubac, great player on both ends, and they also got Jason Preston, the once great Ohio Bobcat basketball player, one of the
Yes,
most
sir.
wins. Even that will give them some luck on the end of that bench.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Yeah, Clippers definitely should be a good team in the regular season and in the playoffs. Nick, who's your 3 seed?
The Clippers. Yeah. Love what they did this offseason. Love the fact that you got James Harden and Chris Paul and Kawhi all on the same roster, like 2020. That's crazy. And then Zub obviously is a huge piece for them. I hope this Kawhi thing doesn't hang over their head. I hope it doesn't, but we'll see.
I hope it doesn't too, because these are all guys, I think, well, besides Kawhi, because he obviously has won championships, but for the most part, these are all guys that have paid their dues in the league and deserve championships. And I would love to see Harden get a ring, Chris Paul get a ring, even Beal get a ring for what he had to deal with Phoenix in those later years with the Wizards. Brook Lopez is a veteran, a former champion who's going to be nice for them off the bench. That center combo is going to be nice. I think there could even be some fun times where they play together. Like against the Spurs, we're going to see those guys play together, and that's going to be fun to watch. But yeah, they're a team I cannot wait to watch for sure at the top of the West. For the 3rd seed, that's where I have the Houston Rockets. I think the injury is actually going to be more of a concern in the playoffs than the regular season. I think in the regular season, there will be times where we get to see what Reed Shepherd can do with the ball, and I think he will be solid. Aaron Holiday is a steady spot-up guy that can also make plays, doesn't make a whole lot of mistakes. But I do think that Amen Thompson will eventually be the one, and if that is the case in the regular season, dude, they're going to be ridiculous because they're going to be so tall. They'd probably start Tari Eason in there as well. Durant would be like the 2. It'd be ridiculous. And I mean, Durant would be a great fit there. He said during his media day today that he is going to sign an extension with the Rockets. And then we just mentioned the Clippers bigs and potential to play double bigs. The Rockets have Şengün, Steven Adams, and they get Clint Capella back as well with Dorian Finney-Smith, Josh Okogie. They just have a lot of guys that fit that defensive, gritty, physical mindset that Ime Udoka has brought to that team. And I think that's going to be great for them in the regular season. I don't think they're going to have any problems getting wins. In the playoffs, though, still concerns about their offense because you can let a lot of those guys still shoot the 3 ball because they didn't really address that this offseason. They have a lot of questions with the 3-point line I think will come up in the playoffs. But as far as the regular season goes, I still think they'll be one of the top teams in the West.
I also have them at 3, and same reasons. I think they'll be solid. Even though 2 is they finished 2nd last year, right?
It'd be a slight decline.
But and I'll be honest, I would attribute that to losing Fred VanVleet. He's pretty important to that team, but I could see it like that could be just an issue come playoff time.
Yeah, for sure. Ben, who do you have as the 3rd seed?
I have Houston at 3 too. So yeah, I agree with you guys on the Fred stuff, and Houston's a really good team once again this year. They're relevant as we know going into this year. They got Kevin Durant. They got a superstar there finally. The Van Fleet thing, yeah, that's a bummer. But I still think they'll figure some things out and be really good. And shout out to Jackson Goglin's Houston Rockets for getting back in that contender mode finally.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. All right. So we're going to have the same top 2 teams as well. Will we have them in the same order? We'll see. 2 is where I got the Denver Nuggets.
Denver Nuggets.
Yep.
Okay, so 2 seed across the board for the
No hot
Denver
take.
Nuggets. Of course, one of the top off seasons. Not because they got any big names, they got a lot of players who just fit what they're trying to do. Getting Cam Johnson for Michael Porter, getting Tim Hardaway, Bruce Brown's back, Jonas Valanciunas as the backup center, with Jokic, Gordon, Christian Brown coming off a great year, Jamal Murray. Yeah, this team should be really, really good. This is arguably the deepest team that they've had in the Jokic era, so they should definitely be a threat. There's no question about it. They're going to have David Adelman as their coach from the start of the season, not with 2-3 games left in the season. So I think things are going to be a lot more organized in Denver this year. And they were still pretty good last year with all the commotion going on. And they took the team that will have as the 1 seed. They took the champion Thunder to 7 games with a pretty rocky season. So I'm excited to see what they can do with everything organized and just with great surrounding depth around Nikola Jokic.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think it's a testament to their offseason and to Jokic that we all have them still at number 2, because it's hard to sustain this high level for, I think they're going on 3 or 4 years since they won the title, 3 years ago now. But they've been at this very, very high level with Jokic leading them for like 4 years, and it's hard to stay at the top of the conference for that long. But I think it goes to show that bringing in Bruce Brown and Hardaway as shooters on the perimeter, and then getting Valanciunas to give Joker his best supporting cast, that we all have them still here at number 2.
Well, that's been the biggest issue. It has been when Jokic is on the floor, the Denver Nuggets are the best team on the planet. When he's off, they're by far the worst team on the planet. So if you at least get him some help so he can sit a good 15 minutes a game, he's going to be ecstatic. And he's going to be way more energized and the rest of the team by the time it gets to the playoffs.
Absolutely. So that means, Ben, number 1 across the board, we have the defending champs, the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are obviously keeping the same team. They won 68 games a year ago with Holmgren and Hartenstein each missing like half the season. It's the Thunder, man. They did some special things last year, and we all expect them to do the same thing kind of in the regular season.
Yeah, the Thunder, once again, they're just so loaded guys that could do all kinds of different great things. You got Shea, reigning MVP, one of the best players in the league, and J-Dub's just such a good second option scorer. He complements Shea so well. Then Chet's gonna be healthy going into this year. That's really exciting, and I hope that could keep up with Chet this year. He's really fun when he's on the floor. I think he'll take a step up offensively and just be one of the best defenders in the league. It's kind of like Wemby with defending. He's huge and could just block shots so well and make it so difficult for guys to score on him. And Hartenstein there too. It's their big body there. They're a big team, and they got great defenders who just sneak up on you, get steals as you see that will make it tough on teams. Lou Dort, Caruso, and J Dub does that too. They're all still there. The Kings running it back, and they're going to be scary once again.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to get easier to score against that team. That's for sure. Nick, Joey, so you guys have been doing your record predictions for these teams. I'm very curious with this Thunder team. Did either of you predict that they could win 70 games this season?
No.
That's a hell of a prediction if anyone is predicting that.
Yeah. Okay. They're a great team. They're going to be a great team like they were last year. But I have them at 65-17, not even as quite as good as last year, but at least in my opinion, that's only because the rest of the Western Conference got way better. But they're still going to be such a dominant team. I'm really looking forward to seeing Nikola Topic. I hope to see a lot of him this year.
For sure. Nick, what's your record prediction for the Thunder?
It's at 62, and that's about as high. I mean, the Thunder are coming off a championship. They obviously are the favorites to win and have achieved. They've proven everything last year by winning 68 games. That's just as high as like it's more of a personal thing as high as I'm willing to put a team without seeing them take the floor at all.
Sure.
Interesting. Okay, fair enough. I would not be surprised. I'll see people. I could definitely see people projecting them to win 70 games. I don't think they will because the West is so loaded. And last year, it's kind of a similar thing with Houston going down from 2 to the 3 seed. Like they may not get a whole lot worse. But the West was kind of weird last season, if we're being weird, especially at the top. Like the Lakers get Luka midway through the season. Denver has turmoil the entire year. Clippers don't have Kawhi for half the season. The Warriors get Jimmy Butler halfway through the season. The Timberwolves were kind of a mess for the first half of the season. Like everything was really unorganized for and the Thunder took full advantage, winning 68 games. But I could definitely see the thought process of, dude, J-Dub, Chet could definitely still get better. They're still young. There's no reason that after winning the championship, like they still have their player development program there in Oklahoma City. They should definitely get better. Shea could even get better. And if the roster is entirely better from a team that just won 68 games, that could definitely be a 70-win team. So I can definitely see the thought process. But they're going to be getting every other team's best shot this season. So they'll be in a lot of tough battles. But it's going to be a lot of fun to watch them defend this title, to see how they go about this, to see if they have championship hangover. They end up lower than this. None of us have them finishing lower than 1. I'd be very surprised if they weren't the number 1 seed. But it'll be interesting to see if they have that hangover, or if they, continue to just wreak dominance on the entire league and cruise to the number 1 seed again. I mean, last season they finished with a 16-game lead over the Rockets in the West.
I don't expect that to happen again.
No.
No.
But no, overall, should be a lot of fun. So there are our entire standings predictions. A whole lot of fun here. A whole lot of hot takes here. I'm trying to think. So for each of us, the hot takes, I guess mine is the Timberwolves at 9. Joey, I don't know if Joey really had one. Joey, maybe the Suns at 11. I know Knicks is the Suns at 15 below, or maybe not even the Suns at 15. The Jazz not being at 15.
Yeah.
And then Ben having the Spurs at 5, or the Lakers and Warriors in the play-in.
I think the Jazz and the Suns are going to be sick of watching the Oklahoma City whole team post-game interviews, and they're going to get a couple wins.
I'll be honest. I thought my hot take was going to be the Kings in the play-in. I didn't expect any of y'all to be nice.
Interesting. Very interesting. But, yeah, a lot of fun on this episode. We're going to keep the predictions going in the next episode when we predict all the awards.
Let's go.
For the upcoming season. And then, by the time we're on that episode, it'll be preseason basketball. We'll finally have live NBA basketball back, gearing up for what should be another incredibly fun season. So cannot wait for that. But that is it for this one. I know it was a longer podcast, so we appreciate it. You guys watching this long here. You guys have anything else before we get out of here?
Go Guards.
Yes, sir.
That's right. Well, if you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe for more NBA content. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and we will catch you in the next one.
Peace.
Peace.